One of the main problems holding people back from reaching their potential is the lack of personal responsibility, and it's never been more common. All over you could see people proclaiming their victimhood, victims of circumstance, victims of the economy, victims of their upbringing, the list goes on. And there's a good reason for it too. It's easy, right? No action needs to be taken to feel victimized. You have nothing to do but place blame on someone or something else. But the downside is that you're always living under the control of externalities. You trade personal responsibility for blame. And blame is nothing but a crutch. It pulls you out of owning your situation and finding a better way, and puts you into the mindset of shifting the problem onto someone or something else. Epictetus once said that an ignorant person is inclined to blame others for their own misfortune. To blame oneself is a sign of progress. And most people are not ready for that. We get stuck on the idea that because someone else is to blame for what happened, they should fix it. And maybe they should. But if we don't step up and do what we can, then we remain stuck waiting for someone else to solve our problems. Our hearts may get broken, but it's up to us to grieve and work on healing. Our lives may be altered by an economic downturn, but we have the choice on how we're going to face our future. We're going to have to face it anyway, so why not take ownership of our attitudes so that we can make the most out of the choices we do have? Taking responsibility for fixing things when they go wrong does not mean those that are to blame should not be held accountable. If someone is driving drunk and they injure someone, they should definitely be prosecuted, and if someone steals from you, you should definitely hold them accountable for their actions. That being said, you can't wait until justice is served to be happy again. You shouldn't sit around being angry or depressed waiting for someone else to come and fix things. When you do that, you're only giving away your power and allowing yourself to remain a victim. You must take on the personal responsibility to do what you can to improve the situation, then move forward. It goes without saying that life is not fair, and unfortunately it never will be. We're all dealt a different set of cards, some more favorable than others, but we always have a choice. We can choose to complain about the cards we've been dealt, or we could do everything in our power to play them well. Stoicism favors the latter. As Epictetus put it, make the best use of what's in your power and take the rest as it happens. The Stoics believe that it's not what happens to you that matters, it's how you respond. That's where the word responsibility came from. It's our ability to respond to things. Responsibility, right? And rather than see ourselves as victims of what happens to us, we could instead view them as challenges that we must face. And the Stoics viewed challenges as an opportunity for growth, even in situations that seem disastrous to most others. There's a story about a man who was in a taxi driving through New York City when suddenly a black car pulled out of a parking spot right in front of them. The taxi driver slammed his brakes, swerved, and missed the car by just inches. And the driver of that other car turned around and started yelling and cursing at the taxi driver, but the taxi driver just smiled and waved at the guy. And the customer in the back said, "Why did you do that? The guy almost hit your car and sent us to the hospital." But the taxi driver explained to him what he liked to call the law of the garbage truck. He explained that many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of anger, frustration, and disappointment. And as their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump it. And sometimes they'll dump it on you. But don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. You don't want to take their garbage and spread it to other people at work, at home, or on the streets. The bottom line is that you shouldn't let other people dictate your emotional state. Like many other things, your happiness is your responsibility. And being responsible for yourself isn't exactly easy, but the work is worth the reward. And when you're not where you wish to be, or things aren't going according to plan, it's up to you to handle it. You need to figure out what actions need to be taken and then act. Naval Ravikant said that the only real test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life. And while that may be a little extreme, it's important to consider that if you're not getting what you want out of life, chances are that you're letting outside forces dictate your outcomes, which is not exactly intelligent. And whenever you find yourself wanting to place blame, remember that you are handing over control to someone other than yourself. You're getting into the passenger seat of your emotions and giving the wheel to someone else, letting them drive you wherever they'd like. And maybe you've been born into unfortunate or downright horrible circumstances, and so it's justified to feel like you've been dealt an unfair hand. Maybe it's harder for you to feel happy or become successful compared to others. But if you want to improve your situation, you have to make a choice. You could either blame your circumstances and get nowhere, or you could take responsibility for your life and make progress. And if you do choose the path of personal responsibility, then you've got to watch my video on the most important question you could ask yourself, because the answer to that question will likely determine your trajectory in life. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe, and as always, see you next Tuesday.